Good morning. So let's begin our English classes for today. Right. So yesterday I gave you the overview of the syllabus, outline of the syllabus, and I gave you the units and the contents of the units, and I hope you have written them down in your book. So it will be easy for you to follow the syllabus as I go along. So we are in the first unit, and I was discussing with you the types of listening, right? And I was discussing with you what is listening, right? Introduction to listening. And yesterday we started barriers to listening, right? Barriers to listening. Okay. So today we are okay. Yesterday. Barriers to listening. So we were talking about physical barriers, right? Let us recollect yesterday's class. Let us try to okay. So physical barriers. Under physical barriers, right? I was talking about noise, physical discomfort, and physical distraction, right? And I was sharing with you what it means when you have these three aspects. You can't listen effectively. You can't listen properly. Noise. Yeah, you know about noise effectively. External noise. The noise surrounding you, the vehicles or the sound from instruments, machines. You need to be far away from such noise so that you can listen effectively. And we are talking about physical discomfort, right? You are not able to sit properly, or you are not sitting in a good sitting posture, or your table and chair is not comfortable, right? Your chair is not comfortable for you. So when you are not feeling comfortable, you won't be able to listen effectively. You won't be able to listen effectively, right? So and physical distraction, colors, objects, right? You need to be away from these kind of things. When you are listening to a speaker, other movements in the room or outside the room will be a case for distraction, and in such situations, in such circumstances, you won't be able to listen effectively. That's a barrier. So we were looking at physical barrier. Second, we were talking about psychological barriers. These barriers crop up in your mind, okay, in your thinking, what to do. And such barriers are emotional disturbance. You are not emotionally balanced. You are emotionally disturbed, you won't listen effectively. You don't want to listen. You don't feel like listening effectively. Emotional disturbance, right? If you want to be a good listener, you need to be emotionally balanced to some extent. You need to have emotional balance so that you can control your emotions or your feelings, and your thinking will be okay. So when your thinking is okay, when your mind is free of any emotional disturbances, then you will be able to listen effectively and carefully. So emotional disturbance, it's one barrier for listening. Age and attitude. We were discussing about age and attitude. If the speaker is younger to you, or if their qualifications are less, or if they seem to be less experienced than you, you don't feel like listening to them, right? You want to avoid listening to them, okay? You don't want to pay attention to what they are saying. And when such kind of people take up a lecture or class, you don't feel like listening to that kind of speakers. So that age and attitude and mindset. We were talking about mindset in psychological barriers. Your mindset, depending on your attitude, okay, your outlook, listening will take place effectively. So if you are not having a good outlook, your attitude is not in tune with the speaker, or your attitude is not in tune with the people who are speaking to you, then there can be a barrier for listening. And then anxiety and fear. I stopped there. Anxiety and fear. If you have anxiety and fear, then there won't be any kind of reception from the speaker. You won't be able to receive what the speaker is saying because you are filled with anxiety and fear. The anxiety and fear will hinder you from listening effectively to the speaker. Right? Anxiety and fear are a kind of hindrance for you to listen to what is being said in the classroom, Okay, so that is it. We have seen psychological barriers. So yesterday we were discussing about physical barriers, psychological barriers, and now we shall see linguistic barriers. We shall see C. Linguistic barriers. Linguistic barriers. So, under this linguistic barrier, you have the first one, okay, improper message decoding. Improper message decoding. Improper message decoding. Right? So, we are going to see linguistic barriers for listening, effective listening. Okay, what are the barriers that one faces with regard to linguistic barrier? Improper message coding. Right? So, if you are unable to decode the message that you are listening to, then that means listening has not taken place. Right? If your brain is unable to process what you have heard, if your brain is unable to analyze what you have heard, then improper message decoding takes place. What is this decoding? Decoding is breaking down the message. Okay, decoding is breaking down the message that you have heard, or analyzing the message that you have heard, and trying to understand it, trying to understand the message that you have heard, and trying to decode it according to your capacity and according to your understanding, and again framing a suitable reply to be given back to the speaker. Right? I hope you understand. So decoding is analyzing or breaking down the message, what you have heard, according to your own understanding, according to your own thinking, according to your capacity, and again framing a message to give back to the speaker. The speaker gives you a message, speaker says something, and what you listen to the speaker, you decode in your mind, you analyze, you understand, and then you break it down into pieces according to your suitability and understanding, and then you frame a message and you say something and you give a reply back to the speaker. You give a reply back to the speaker. So, improper message decoding, right? When you are not able to understand what the speaker says properly, then it's a barrier for listening, linguistic barrier. Maybe this linguistic barrier can be a cause of yourself not knowing the language of the speaker, right? It may be the reason, or it may be the cause that you don't know the language, you are not able to follow the language that speaker is speaking. Maybe language barrier. We can see the next, we are going to that point, okay? Next. So, improper message decoding, you are not able to decode what you are listening to. You are not able to analyze or do an analysis of what the speaker has spoken. And when you are not able to do an analysis of what the speaker has spoken, then you may not be able to give back a suitable reply or give back a suitable message. So, language. Second is language. Language. This is a very, very important and vital role for listening process, right? You are not able to listen to the speaker because of language problem, then it means that you are not following the language of that person. So this linguistic barrier, right? Under linguistic barriers, we have seen improper message decoding and language. Language is also important if you want, if you need for effective listening to take place. If you are not able to understand the language being spoken by the speaker, you will not be in a position to give back a suitable reply, right? And so we need to understand that the listener should be aware of the language being spoken by the speaker. Unless the listener is not aware of the language being spoken by the speaker, then there are chances that it's a barrier for listening, right? Next, jargon. We are talking about jargon. Next point in this linguistic barrier is jargon. Jargon, right? So, usage of technical words to people, okay, who are not aware of these technical words is a barrier for listening, right? You may be of the understanding that the other person may understand your words and vocabulary that you use. So, the type of jargon, the kind of jargon that you use, high funda words, high sounding words. When you use such kind of high sounding words, high funda words, the listener or the people listening to you may not be able to understand what you're saying. And vice versa, in the same way, when the speaker is also speaking or giving the lecture using high funda terms, high funda language and jargon, high sounding vocabulary, listening does not take place. So you need to understand that jargon is very important in listening, right? The terminology that the speaker uses or the terminology that you use, the sentences and the phrases that you construct, the vocabulary that is within you, the vocabulary that you possess. If you are using high sounding vocabulary, if the speaker is using high sounding vocabulary, high sounding words, high funda words, then I believe it is impossible for listening to take place. It's a barrier for listening. So there are three linguistic barriers. There are three linguistic barriers. Okay, so let the blackboard come, board come back. Right, improper message decoding, language, jargon, right? These three are coming under linguistic barriers. Right, next we shall move on to cultural barriers. We shall move on to cultural barriers. Just wait a minute, the board will come back. So I will, okay. So we saw the first one, physical barriers. Then we saw second one, psychological barriers. And thirdly, we saw linguistic barriers. And then now we shall see cultural barriers. Now we shall see cultural barriers. Cultural barriers, right? The fourth barrier is cultural barrier. First one is physical barriers. Then we saw psychological barriers. Then we discussed linguistic barriers. And now we shall move on to cultural barriers. Culture also plays a vital role in communication, in effective communication and in effective listening. Right? Effective listening will not take place if there is a cultural hindrance. If there is a cultural hindrance. Right, cultural differences. Under the first point, cultural barriers, you have the first point, cultural differences. If the speaker and listener belong to different cultures, then, okay, listening does not take place effectively. Listening does not take place effectively. Culture comes as a barrier for effective listening and speaking. Culture comes as a barrier for effective listening and speaking. Right? Maybe your culture has different values and and different traditions. So it comes as a hindrance for you to listen to the speaker when they are having a different culture from yours. Right? So cultural aspects also play a very vital and important role in effective communication and listening process. Right? Different values. The speaker, due to their culture and tradition, they may have different meanings for certain context and certain situations. And those situations and contexts may be different from yours, from your culture or your values. So your values may not be parallel with the values of the speaker. Okay, your values may not be parallel with the values of the speaker, and when there is such kind of hindrance, effective listening does not take place. Meaning of words, meaning of sentences may change from culture to culture, and so this aspect which comes under different values is a barrier for effective listening. Next, different social norms. Different social norms. Interpretation of meaning may vary from person to person, may vary from culture to culture, and this is one aspect, okay, of cultural barriers for effective listening. Right? Your social values and customs. Interpretation of social values and custom may be different from yours to the speaker who is speaking. And when there is clash of these different social norms, effective listening cannot take place or does not take place. Right? So we saw 4 barriers to listening: physical barriers, psychological barriers, linguistic barriers, and cultural barriers. Right? I hope you have followed these things. Okay, so barriers to listening, let me sum it up again: physical barriers, psychological barriers, linguistic barriers, and cultural barriers. Right. So with this, we shall close the first unit. Right, and then you have effective listening. 10 keys to effective listening. I shall go through them. Okay. Effective listening. How are you going to develop your listening powers? How are you going to develop your listening powers? First of all, find areas of interest. Find out which area of interest is yours. What do you like? What would you like to do? Try to identify your area of interest and work on it. Work out on that aspect. Develop it. Develop your area of interest. And try to do some research in your area of interest. Then you will be able to develop your listening. You will become an effective listener. You will become an effective listener. Judge content, not delivery. Analyze the content, not how you are going to deliver it. Analyze the content. Do an analysis of the content, and then you can automatically deliver it by yourself. And when you deliver what you think properly, it will be meaningful and people can understand you very clearly. Right? Listen for ideas. That is one good aspect of listening. One important and very good criteria for listening is listen for ideas. Simply don't listen. Don't simply listen just like that. When you are listening, try to take out ideas. Try to pull out ideas from the speaker. Or maybe you can frame some ideas which you can contribute in the course of the communication. So, effective listening is for listening to ideas. Why should we have effective listening? Why should we develop effective listening? We have seen first areas of interest, judge content, not delivery, and listen for ideas. When you listen for ideas, when you are a keen observer, when you are a keen listener, then effective listening has taken place. Then we can say effective listening has taken place. Be flexible. Be flexible. If you want to be an effective listener, be flexible. Try to understand the other person. Try to accept the points and views of the other person or the person who is speaking to you. Right. Work at listening. Work at listening. Develop your listening power. Try to work out your the mistakes and shortcomings in listening power, in listening area, in the area of listening. Try to iron out your differences in the area of listening. Any problems are there, try to have a solution. Try to get a solution. Work out your listening powers. Resist distractions. If you want to be an effective listener, next, you should resist from distractions. Some people are easily distracted, very quickly distracted. They lose track of the class or they lose track of what is it about the conversation that they are having. Distractions. Any slight movement or any slight kind of change will cause distraction for some people. So try to avoid distraction. Try to concentrate your mind on what you are listening to. Keep your mind focused on the lecture or keep your mind focused on what is going on around you. Like what are people talking to you? What are they discussing? So when you are very alert, then you can resist any distraction that comes or crops up around you. Exercise your mind. Exercise your mind. Try to have a flexible mind. Try to keep your mind free of other thoughts when you are listening. Keep your mind open. That's what we say. Be open-minded. Don't be narrow-minded. Don't be narrow-minded. Be open-minded. Right? Try to accept things which are useful and try to reject things which you don't feel are useful. That is it. That's what you do. Keep your mind open. Try to be receptive to the ideas and opinion of other people. Don't simply stand on your opinion. Don't stand on your idea. Don't say that what I have said only is correct. I am only correct. No. Better not have that kind of mentality. Better not have that kind of mentality. Keep your mind open. When your mind is open, you'll be able to receive good ideas, new ideas. Okay? Right. Anticipate, summarize, weigh the evidence and look back and look between the lines. Anticipate, summarize what the speaker has said in your mind, right? Then you weigh the evidence. You try to balance your argument, what you have heard of the speaker Try to balance your ideas with the ideas of the speaker, and then you can deliver your speech, or you can deliver your address you want, or you can take up the class that you would what do you want to teach in the class, you can start teaching your class. So we see that we have seen 10 keys to effective listening. We have seen 10 keys to effective listening. So that's what. So in unit number 1, we listening skills. Again, I am doing a brief recapitulation. Please try to follow very carefully. Listening skills. Under listening skills, importance of listening, I have done it. Types of listening, we have seen the different types, and barriers to listening. There are some 4 barriers for listening, and then effective listening, 10 keys to effective listening. Next, we shall go into unit number 2, speaking skills. Under speaking skills, sounds of English, vowels and consonants, I have done it. Okay. Shall I rub the blackboard? I mean this board. So unit 2, then we are doing speaking skills. Unit 2, speaking skills. Under that speaking skills, write sounds of English, sounds of English, vowels and consonants. Vowels and consonants. Okay, and second one is word accent. Word accent. Word accent. And the third one you have intonation. So in the previous class I have shared with you, okay, vowels and consonants. So now we shall do this words, accent and intonation, right? Okay, so let us go to the second unit. Let's go to second unit, word, accent and rhythm, right? What is this accent and rhythm? What is word, accent and rhythm? What is this? What are we going to discuss? Accent is your style of speaking a language. Accent is your style of speaking a language, right? Accent means how you speak a sentence, whether you are giving proper stress and rhythm and intonation. Are you putting the stress in the proper place and speaking, right? Your accent and your rhythm should match together. Your accent and your rhythm should match together. What is this rhythm? Rhythm is a kind of musical quality that you have for your communicative English. for your communication. Okay? Rhythm is the kind of musical quality that you have when you speak a sentence or when you speak a language. When your voice is rhythmic, when your sentences are rhythmic, then it will be pleasant to hear what you are speaking. People would like to hear what you are speaking. People would like to appreciate what you are speaking. Right? I hope you understand. So, accent, neutral accent, it's like we should have a neutral accent. When talking about accent, many of us think that we should speak like the British and Americans. No, there is no need to. Indians need not copy the style of speaking of the spoken style of the Americans and the British. There is no need to do that. There is no need to do that. We can have our own accent. We can have our own accent. That's what we can have, a neutral accent. A neutral accent. And at least if you are audible and if you are able to be understood, then fine. Your English is okay. Right? Don't think that we should speak like an American or a British in order to make other people understand what we are speaking. No, there is no need to do that. Right? So, accent is your style of speaking the language. Neutral accent. Okay? You must have a neutral accent. And rhythm. Accent and rhythm. When you have accent and rhythm, your voice or your language will be pleasant to be heard by other people. People will have a desire to hear what you are speaking. People will have a desire to hear what you are speaking. Right? So, when you have a rhythm in your voice or when you speak rhythmically with proper accent, it also contributes to the meaning that you would like to convey to the other person or to the listeners. Whether you want to convey an angry tone or you want to convey a happy tone or you want to convey a sad tone or you want to convey a sad message, a happy message, an angry message, then it all depends on the rhythm that you use when you speak a certain language, when you speak a certain language. So, rhythm and accent. When you have proper accent and rhythm, you can give you can give good meaning to your sentences, what you are speaking, and you will be understood easily by the other people, by the other person. So, when we have good accent, our spoken English will be pleasant to be heard by other people. Other people will like to hear our spoken English when we use accent and rhythm properly in our communicative English. So, here we are talking about word accent. Word accent. And accent is having a particular stress, a mark. You have a particular mark, and top of the voice. So, for example, you have this word, word accent and stress. I am talking about this word. Project this line. You give the stress by this single line. Right? Project. So, you have this encounter or examination. Examination. You have the stress here. Examination. Examination. This is this. That means you must have a stress here. Right? When you have a stress there, then you are said to have proper accent and rhythm. So, accent and rhythm makes your voice to be heard or to be enjoyable to be listened by the other people. Other people will like to listen to what you are saying. Right. Next, we shall go into next aspect, intonation. That's a different chapter altogether, right? A different unit, and intonation has different categories. So I will take up that class in the afternoon, right? I shall meet you again in the afternoon and take up that class. Intonation. What is intonation? And different kinds of intonation. It's an altogether different chapter, different context. So I shall take it up in the afternoon class. Thank you.